Okay, so welcome to our Tuesday mob training, how to teach a class. I'm so excited to share this information because honestly, this is what we do. We teach classes and we educate, and this is such a huge part of this business. And I will be honest with you that this is often how it feels. This idea of teaching and public speaking, they say it ranks up there with the fear of death, because I know so many people, and me in particular, even to this day, and I have taught so many classes, there's still this moment where I feel nervous and my palms sweat and it feels kind of crazy. And then I breathe and I take some serenity and I put some balance on my feet and it just begins. So as we're talking about teaching, this is something that you have to think about. How do you feel presenting? How do you feel teaching? And it really is a mindset. And it starts with thinking about your classes as a class. So if you are new to doTERRA, one of the big things I feel like when we start the business is referring to our classes as parties. And, you know, we've been to pampered chef parties, we've been to jewelry parties, and it's just a totally different platform. So when you can stand in that space, that when you're putting people together and when you're teaching, the language that you're using, this is a class, that we are serving and we are educating people. I love the book Being the Starfish, and I would highly encourage you to read it. But there's so many good things in there, and really I wanted to start with this idea of teaching and having a class. And he talks about how to begin as an introduction in your classes, saying that you are going to teach you something that could change your life. We are simply passionate about helping people who see doTERRA as a fit, that this is not about selling, but that this is about education and possibly changing your life. So speaking to the head causes people to think, and that's good, but speaking to the heart causes them to feel. And it's the feeling part that really produces people to make decisions and to buy. And I love that. So as I'm going through the slides tonight, I'm really going to break down how to prepare, what you need, what resources are available, to leave you with some really good tools, and all of these attachments will be available to you as we post this in the mob Facebook group. So first question, just like that first slide of public speaking being up there with the fear of death, where are you with public speaking and teaching? Just kind of taking a check on how you feel about it and where you're at. If it's something that you feel excited about, if it's something that you feel nervous about, just be in that space of how it makes you feel, because just be okay with that. I went to a meeting and I heard somebody say this, and I really loved it because I felt like if you think of yourself as a resource, as a teacher, instead of the source, you don't have to know it all. I think when I first started teaching and when I stood up there, if I felt like I was just a student and that I could say, I don't know, but I'll get back to you, or let me look that up for you, it really took the pressure off of me having to know it all. So remember that you don't have to know everything. There are class in a box videos. You need to practice, videotape yourself teaching and just get some feedback. Learn from upline webinars. I mean, there is so much information out there for you to really get how to teach. So we have the class in a box. Steph and a lot of the team uses Prezi, which is a platform, and we have a webinar. So there's a PowerPoint available to you if you choose to use the PowerPoint. There's a script that's provided in the class in a box. There's webinars that you can watch. Know that you can get support from your upline. So if your upline is in your area or can travel, what we like to do is set it up 3 times. So the first class, your upline teaches. The second class, you co-teach. And then the third class, you teach and your upline supports. So that's a great paradigm for how to start feeling comfortable teaching and the verbiage. If your upline is not close to you, definitely tons of webinars available. Practice. Schedule a Zoom with your upline and practice the class over Zoom. I mean, this is a great platform just to hear your voice and hear what you're going to be saying. Really, I would say going over doTERRA CPTG, your co-impact sourcing, your testing, there is some script that you need to feel comfortable saying, that you need to hear your voice practicing, and do that through Zoom, or if your upline is able to come to a class, then that's awesome. So just know that there's 2 class options for you when you first start, and even now for me, my options are either I host a class, or you can get a friend, family, co-worker to host a class for you. This is a sample host sheet that Chelsea put together, and as we were brainstorming on how to teach a class, I thought this was such a great tool. I mean, all of this will be available to you on the mob training. So it's just a letter for some questions that may come up if someone is a host. How many people are usually at a class? How long do they last? What do I need to do to prepare? So if you do have a friend or a family member that is hosting for you, this is a great one sheet that you can send them just to answer some of their questions. Whenever you start teaching, always start with 101 classes. So some of those more advanced topics, the 102s, the DIYs, really work well with your existing customers that you want to nurture, that you're continuing to teach, that you're continuing to empower. But the 101 class structure of those 10 basic oils is really where you should start. And the class in a box is the foundation for that. This is in addition to all of the tools that come in the class in a box, so you get your script, you get some magazines, you get 10 wild orange, you get your videos, you get invitations. This is what you need to host a class. In addition, if you do want to do a PowerPoint, or have an additional presentation, here is the Prezi, and this link will be available to you. This is put together by Steph and the team, that you can show slides and really get into some detail in addition to some of the videos with class in a box. But totally, whatever your comfort level is, whatever you feel like you can handle. If there's no PowerPoint, if you don't have a computer set up, obviously you would just do the class in a box. So your Essential Oils 101 class is going to look like this. Always know your audience. Regardless of if you're talking to moms, yogis, runners, businesswomen, an older demographic, we are going to use the basic 10 oils as the foundation for the essential life. The only thing that will change is possibly the language that you're using as you're teaching. But you'll be covering the same oils. So for example, if I was talking to a runner, I would say that lavender is so important, because if you're not getting a good night's sleep, you're not recovering as an athlete. So, or if I was talking to a mom and I was talking about lavender, I would say, how crazy is it when your toddler is not wanting to have a nap? and they are overtired and they are exhausted, and lavender is the oil for rest. So, you know, as you're teaching, you're still using lavender, but the language just may be a little bit different. So these are the 10 oils as the foundation for the essential life. Your lemon, your peppermint, your lavender, melaleuca, frankincense, oregano, on guard, breathe, digest, zen, and deep blue. And these are the basic oils found in the Home Essentials kit, also in the Natural Solutions kit. If you want to include a favorite that you have, for example, your Clary Calm, your In Tune, your Balance, you can add that as a story. And then always mention the Lifelong Vitality, because that is the nutritional foundation for health. So the 10 oils, and then a couple of your favorites, and LLV. As you're preparing for a class, create your invitation. Yes, email is great. A lot of people do a Facebook event, is awesome. Class in a Box has an invitation that you can mail or you can drop off. You can create something on Canva. So there's a lot of digital platforms as far as creating the event and inviting. But I will say that more than anything, the most important layer of inviting is to contact them personally, either through a text, through a phone call, or inviting them in person. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I go on Facebook these days, like my notifications is like 10, 15 times things. Like there is so much happening on Facebook that if you just create an invitation on Facebook, they may miss it. And if you don't follow up and just send a quick text, hey, I invited you through Facebook. Did you see it? ? Or, you know, just make sure that you're following up personally as a contact. Sample. I love sampling people before the class. This is great to get them excited, to get them to experience the oils. We are doing a specific training on sampling, so I'm not going to go into detail about sampling, but I want just make sure that you're qualifying your leads if you sample before the class. Reminder calls and text 2 days before. You know, just a quick, I'm so excited to see you. You know, let me know if you have any health challenges that you or your family are facing. This is where you start. This is where you get personal. This is where you show that you care, that you want to answer their questions. Let me know. The number one thing, I will make sure to talk about it at the class. You know, something that really connects with them and get them to start thinking about what their goals are before they come to the class. The morning of, great, just to send a reminder, I can't wait to see you. Send you a quick text to let you know about parking arrangements, or if you have a gate code, or, you know, just some sort of detail just that morning. Some key conversations when you're inviting to a class, and these are just some good things to be prepared for. So as you're talking to people, always ask questions. I feel like just in the 2.5 years that I've been teaching, you know, when I ask people, have you tried essential oils? Quite often nowadays, the response is, I use oils. And do not stop there. You will so miss out on opportunities. If somebody says, oh yeah, I use oils, then the question would be, have you used doTERRA? ? Wait, listen to what they have to say. Or if they say, yes, I use something from Whole Foods, or I got something from Target, then your response would be, okay, great. Well, if you love that, Whole Foods, Target, whatever, you are going to love doTERRA. If you say, have you tried essential oils? And they respond with, yeah, I've used doTERRA. Don't stop there. Ask the next question. Do you have a wholesale account? And then wait. And this is truth. I met a girl at a market here. She had actually introduced and sampled a couple people at her office with doTERRA. because I had a couple friends say, oh yeah, so-and-so gave me doTERRA. And I was like, wow, that's so awesome. She's always talking about the oils. She loves the oils. And then I had a table and I was set up there. And so I said to her something about the promotion that month, whether it was the 200 PV promotion or the free oil of the month. And I said, are you getting it? And she's like, well, I don't even have an account. And I thought, oh my gosh, do not just ask questions. So now I'm conversing with her about opening up a wholesale account, and I'm telling her about the BOGOs, and I'm telling her about how awesome the rewards program is. So if somebody does say, yes, they use doTERRA, ask them, do you have a wholesale account? If they say yes, when was the last time you ordered? Are you getting support? I think it's always good to ask these questions. We don't, pull people in from other teams, but just showing your space of education, see where they're at. So ask questions. If you ask, have you tried essential oils, and they say no, then you would invite them to your class or possibly send them a sample before the class. So what to bring. All of these materials, and there will be links attached, so if you need to order anything. The class handout from Class in a Box, the Wild Orange Samples, Modern Essentials, or the Essential Life book as your resource, raffle sheets, a calendar to book other classes and to book your wellness consults at your class is really helpful. Your 10 oils plus your balance in tune, your LLV, your computer if you're doing Prezi. So anyway, all of this is veggie caps, your fractionated coconut oil, your lifelong vitality, your host gift. If somebody is hosting the class, ideas would be an Essential Life book is awesome. The keychain from doTERRA that you can order in your back office and fill them with 8 oils of your choice or their choice. You can offer a diffuser as a host gift. You can offer empty roller bottles, some DIY spray bottles, a lemon, lime, wild orange. There's tons of stuff on Aroma Tools. So that would be a gift for your host. If you would like to do a snack, there's some great recipes on the doTERRA blog. I will say one of my favorites, and it's super easy. But with all this being said, the focus is on education and creating a class and providing a class. So it's not about socializing. It's not about having a ton of food. And sometimes I feel like that creates too much of a social thing when you're trying to teach. So if you do decide to do snacks, keep it simple. One of my favorites is just using apples. I like the red, delicious apples. Cut them and soak them in a bowl with 1 to 3 drops of On Guard. Soak it, and then as I'm teaching, I'll actually, and I'm talking about On Guard, I'll pass around my apple slices and say what a great immune boosting snack this is, and the kids love it. And so that's a great snack. I've also done the peppermint brownies, which is a favorite. And then if I have water available, I'll have some of my lemon, Slim and Sassy, lime or peppermint for them to add to their lemon while they're drinking, because it's really just getting them to experience the oils. There will be attachments for a drawing, which you will do at the end of the class for a little prize to get all their information. And then here are some recipes for class food ideas that will be given to you guys. If you're really new to teaching and building, people are going to ask some questions, especially at the end, specifically on their health concerns. And we encourage you to always go back to those top 10 oils as the foundation for wellness. The starter kits are the best value for them. And so just practice saying, here is what 90% of people do, and this is what I would recommend. Even as many oils as I order, I'm always still ordering, and I tell people this. I say, I'm always ordering On Guard, peppermint, breathe, frankincense, and those are the oils that come in the starter kits, the digestion. I mean, that's the foundation of wellness. That's what every single home needs. And then you add those extra oils, your Claricalm for hormones or whatever other, you add that to your LRP. Just know and be confident that you are there to teach. You need to feel confident, and you need to tell them what to do because they are looking to you for suggestions. So we know that the starter kits are foundation for health. We know that they're the best value. So just kind of keep coming back to that conversation when people start asking you questions about what they should order or what would be the best for them. When you're setting up, look at seating arrangements, look at ways to display. I teach from the class in a box tear sheets, or you can use the PowerPoint, as I mentioned, from Stefanie. Tell them that you're going to go over the kits at the end, and tell them that most of the kits come with a free diffuser because everybody needs a diffuser if you're using essential oils. So here's the actual format for the class. Okay, so when you do your introduction, and this is where I feel like this is most of what you need to be teaching or need to be practicing as you hear your voice in the beginning, is just thanking the host, pass out the drawing forms with each of the packets that come in the class in a box, and then start with your story. Why are you here? Why do you care so much about doTERRA? I mean, keep it super brief. Like, this is a really good thing for you to practice because you want it to be powerful, but you want it to be short and you want it to be personal. So your story, then go into why doTERRA. So this is part of the script, the CPTG rating, the purity testing, the way that we source. So this is the introduction. From there, you start educating. That is when you're passing around the 10 oils. You can show a video from the class in a box, give stories, get personal and paint a picture in their head. I feel like when I'm talking about lemon, I'll say, I use it in my detergent. Like, I hate stinky clothes. And, when you get that stinking, give people stories of what it looks like in their day, because then they can start feeling the solution of essential oils. Resources available, Steph's Prezi. Always keep most of the questions to the end. Especially if people start getting really specific, like kind of bring it back to, I'll talk, let's discuss it at the end. I'd love to look it up for you. But asking questions and having them sort of respond and think about how this would be a solution in their life really creates some intention in the class. Then you will have the close. Teresa Harding just posted, and I will give you the link, her actual script on how to close a class. And she is fantastic in her language of the psychology of selling, and not selling, but really supporting people with where they're at. So that will also be available to you. In your close, I always think it's good to have an incentive. The wild orange from Class in a Box is great. If doTERRA is having a promotion, for example, this month in March, they're doing the 200 PV promotion where you get the free Deep Blue Rub and Deep Blue Touch. So that's an incentive to mention and to highlight at the close of why they need to enroll this month. You can also offer the A to Z guide, whatever incentive, but have something that you're giving them at the end of the class. We're going to have a whole mob training on how to close. Teresa Harding's information. I think the most important thing in talking about teaching and having classes is to enroll on the spot. Try to get them to enroll at a class, because this is the purpose of the class, is to teach and educate and to change the way people think. But getting them to enroll in the moment keeps them motivated to make a change right then. People tend to overthink things. So if they leave and they say, I really need to think about it, they're probably going to overthink about it, and then you're going to have to follow up, and then you're going to have to keep touching base. So, you know, in the moment of a class, people feel inspired. They feel motivated. So make sure that you allocate time for the close. And I really do think that this is probably something, when I look back on when I first started teaching, because this was the part that involved selling. And so I would feel really nervous, and I didn't want to come across as being really pushy. And so the close was like like a couple minutes. And I think people sensed that I didn't stand in that space of educating them and answering their questions and teaching them how to get doTERRA tonight and how amazing this is and how it will change their life. So just get comfortable there and make sure you allocate enough time to do your close. Always mention LRP, and as Stefanie keeps saying, like the mob, we are going to be known as Rockstar LRP team. So mentioning LRP, or not even LRP, you want to mention the rewards program, because they're not going to know what LRP is. Starting to plant that seed and get them excited about the rewards program, of how they can get free oils, how they can earn points. It's just like a frequent flyer program, and it's awesome. And doTERRA has great incentives, because you want to definitely be talking about the rewards program, even if it's just a little bit right at the end. A one-on-one is very similar. You'll have your class handout, your essential life book, a diffuser, depending on the location. I feel like the difference between a class and a one-on-one is just starting the conversation with questions. Just asking, before you start teaching, if there's just one person, is just saying, what do you want to know first? What are you thinking about essential oils? Because I feel like sometimes when you have one person, you tend to go into like teacher mode, and you start talking before even seeing where they're at. So a great question for a one-on-one is just saying, what do you want to know first? And what health ailments in your family? Start where they're at. You always will tailor the information, but keep the basic structure. Even during a one-on-one, I will focus on the 10 oils, those 10 basic oils. And then obviously do the close, and then figure out which kid is going to be perfect for them. With all that being said, you have got to know what comes in the enrollment kits. If somebody starts saying, oh, well, I just want On Guard and Deep Blue and, Melaleuca, you need to know what kits those oils come in. You need to know which kit comes with the free diffuser, the Home Essentials kit. You need to know what comes in, what the Natural Solutions kit looks like, what the cleanser, like really familiarize yourself with the kits, so that when people start asking you questions and you want to hear where they're at. If you have a new mom, the family wellness kit is going to be perfect, because she's probably not going to be, she may be nervous about diluting or application. So make sure that you know these 8 kits when you're in the class, because you will be confident, because they're going to be looking to you to tell them what to do. So know the kits. As I said in the beginning, classes are what we do. It is so important to feel confident, to have fun, and just know that the more classes you do, the better you're going to get. Be yourself. It's okay if you don't know all the answers. It's actually a good thing as far as from a business, if you have friends that you keep it simple and they say, oh, well, maybe I could teach. And I will tell you that my first class, Dr. X taught. And I had my friends and my family and everybody I knew I invited, and Dr. X taught. And I thought, how am I possibly going to do a class? Because there is no way I could teach like Dr. X. And it really took me some mind frame. It's like eventually I was just like, well, I had to teach because I needed to share about the oil. So I totally got over myself and what I could do and how I may fail, and believe that all I'm doing is providing oils for them to experience. It's not about me. Okay, so it's about the oils. It's about the experience. It's about passing those oils around. Let the oils do the talking. Let the oils do the teaching for you. So yeah, just be yourself, have fun, and always know that in teaching others, we teach ourselves, because people will ask questions. There's so much to learn. It's called the essential life because it's so much a part of a journey of what we do. And then I love this quote about a teacher, and it kind of goes back to being the starfish of just opening your heart and getting them to feel, because it says a teacher takes a hand, opens a mind, and touches a heart. And I feel like when I stand in that space in a class as a teacher, it's just about touching people's hearts and showing love. That's it.
That was great, Nikki. Thank you so much. I'm just going to add a couple of things because that was so good. And I like that you opened it up saying how we do classes and not parties, because that's a great thing, especially for all the new people, to just get that in your heads too, because a lot of people will ask you like, oh, do you do parties? And I have a new customer, actually. She's so on fire. She wants to host a class. She just enrolled last month. She's so excited. She wants to share this with people. She just enrolled as a wholesale customer, so we haven't even gotten to the part of her, the sharing, but she's already booked a class. And so she made the invitation. I sent her an invitation today, and she put doTERRA Party as the title. And invited some people. And so I just texted her. I said, love the invitation. It looks awesome. Do you mind changing the title to doTERRA class instead of party? So I always correct people. She's like, oh yeah, for sure, it's done. Because I always tell people we don't do parties. We're totally different. Anything that's going to put us in comparison to the other companies out there, like the Arbonne or the jewelry or the skincare parties, anything like that, I always separate. And I just, if somebody even tries to bring up doTERRA and puts us into those categories, I say, oh no, we're nothing like that. Not that that's bad. It's just it's not who we are. We're very unique. We're more in the healthcare industry, which is what we talked about at leadership. That's the industry actually that we're part of, more than the network marketing, just because what we do is, really help families use medicinal options that are natural and safe and really good for the family. So we're all about serving people, like you said, Nikki. I think that was fantastic to get people to understand that. And also, if you've been building for a while, this is all great to, remind yourself about what exactly you need to go over in the class. Always have a close. Practice your close. Master your close. Give them that portion in the middle where they're, that's the fun part. You're just passing around oils and it's really fun. But the one thing I wanted to mention too, you brought up the drawing entry forms. Definitely bring drawing entry forms. So every single class that you do, we're going to have that list that Nikki's going to post about everything that you must have. So we kind of went over that pretty quick, but definitely make sure whenever I do a class, my husband helps pack for me. So he actually gets me ready. And so he has a list. And so he knows exactly what we need. The drawing entry forms, the reason why they're so important is because you have to get their information. So especially if someone's hosting a class for you, or if you have a personal class and maybe someone brings a friend, you don't know who they are, you always need to have their information. And unfortunately, I've had several builders that, have had a class and they had a hair salon or a local chiropractor, someone do a class for them. They didn't know anybody. They came to teach it, and then they forgot the drawing entry forms, or they just didn't get anyone's information. And so they could follow up with nobody. So the drawing entry forms are specifically so that you have emails. Obviously I'd like to give a fun little, I'll make something, or if I did like a yoga class, I'll make a yoga spray. Always have something for the drawing entry that you can give to people, but that's how they get it. And people will fill those out. The reason I like the ones on aroma tools, because we're going to give you something that you can just print out. But the ones I like, the one that when you order from aroma tools, they're like $2 or something. It says on there, there's different options. And one of them is, you're interested in essential oils at wholesale, or, getting started with oils. One of them is you're interested in essential oils as a business. And it's surprising how I've had people check that. It's really surprising sometimes. And they'll hand in their drawing entry form. Sometimes they'll enroll. And then they also mark on there that they're interested in the business. So when I get home and I go through my drawing entry forms, I'm like, oh, wow, they did the work for me, because we don't bring up the business that much in the class. So it's nice because we just try to get everyone enrolling on wholesale. So it's nice when actually someone just lets you know right up front that they're interested. So that is why I really like those drawing entry forms. Get their info. Never do a class without something prepared, so that every time you do a class, you have every single person's email and phone number, so you can contact them within a day or two. Thank them for coming. Follow up with them. I usually, if I'm talking to them, I'm like, yeah, is it okay if, I just reach out to you? And they're always like, yeah, definitely. If they didn't, especially if they didn't enroll that night, I'll definitely be in touch with them the next day or two. And then, like she said, the kits. Another thing I want to bring up with the kits is you should know exactly what's in the kits, how to recommend. My go-to thing is, I always say the natural solutions and home essentials are the most popular kits. But when I close, I show those diamond kits and the Every Oil kits. I hold them up and I explain what's in those. And so we'll do a separate training on exactly, explaining the starter kits, so that you can, have like a 5-10 minute training on how to explain what's in the starter kits, especially if you're with a one-on-one. But you should know how to explain each starter kit and who to recommend for. So when I hold up that sheet and I start there and I say, so let's just look at the back of the starter kits, because this is what most everybody's going to choose. The last page, you got the diamond kit and the Every Oil kit. Now these are the bigger kits, and these are great if I have someone who wants to make over their whole home of toxins, and you just love everything about this. Everything from the skincare, the hair care, the laundry. Now, I didn't have time to go over all these things, but if you want to completely make over your home of toxins and you want the best value and pretty much almost getting it half off, that's your diamond kit. That's every product that doTERRA carries. Plus, you're going to get $400 back in oils, because it comes with the 400 points that you get back. They're going to start you off the highest you can possibly get on the loyalty rewards program at 25% back in points. That's the highest you can get when you enroll, because the whole goal is to get to the 30%. So you're just right there. And so that's every single product. This is also ideal for a business. If they're going to retail it, like a pharmacy or some sort of business that you may be working with, if they want to carry doTERRA, this is fabulous, because it's going to be almost half off, and they're going to be able to retail everything. So that's just like a no-brainer, as Hannah says. She enrolls those diamond kits, especially with the businesses. Every Oil kit obviously is great for builders. I don't say that in a class. I'll just say, if you want every oil that doTERRA makes and you want to be prepared for every single thing that comes up in your family, I usually say, this is the one I should have done when I started. It's always the oil that you need when you first get started and you don't have it yet. Because it does take a while to get the oil. So if you want to, have every single oil that doTERRA has, the Every Oil kit is great. And that comes with $200 back, or 200 points as well. And it starts you off at 20% on loyalty rewards program. So it's great to have every oil up front and have your family just prepped. So I still go over those two kits. Then I say, okay, now we can go to some mid-sized kits. My favorite starter kit is the Natural Solutions for new customers. because if you're just starting your journey, this does not give you every oil, but it does give you a good amount. Some of the most popular. Plus, you get all these great supplements. You get the lifestyle option. So you get the lifelong vitality in the box. That's really nice, and it still comes with $100 back, 100 points, and it gives you higher percentage on loyalty rewards, the 15%. So, anyways, you start talking. You can see how your clothes. Now you're just explaining what's in them, and everybody is listening. Everybody's wanting you to tell them what is in the kits. They're trying to make the decision. So don't rush through this. It's going to make you appear, and I love the clothes. When I get to the clothes, I'm like, okay, it's just boom, boom, boom. And the more you do it, the better you'll be at it. And it will become the most comfortable part of your class. And all you're letting them say is, and we'll provide the script for you. But at the end, you're explaining, how to get their wholesale account and the benefits of getting the wholesale account. And so, for those of you who want to get started using oils, this is how it works. Everyone does wholesale, and then you just go through the benefits of wholesale. So that's all in the presentation that we'll provide for you so that you can just practice it. I also have my presentation recorded, so you can actually see exactly what I say in each slide. But you're going to have your own way of doing things. But I think in the beginning, you should stick to more of a script and cover, what really works so you don't leave anything out. It's going to take you a while, to really come into your own and be able to add your own personal stories as you're using the oils more. So it's good to kind of use a script in the beginning. Let's see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and end this recording and then start a new recording, because I'm sure we have some great questions all about hosting or getting people to host classes or teaching the class and what you say, perhaps any challenges. So this will be a 2-part recording. So I'm going to stop the recording now. Thanks for tuning in, and then we'll stay on and do some questions and answers.